Well, good afternoon. Welcome on this wonderful Easter Sunday here in the United States. But we've got a pretty spicy qualifier today. The second live qualifier, might I add, for the main tournament of 2023 for A Link to the Past randomizer. And do we have a heck of a showcase? We have Vortex of Doom versus Matt 7898 facing off in standard boots. So one of, arguably, at least from my perspective, one of the best modes of a league because we get those starting boots as already marked here on our tracker. That means that we get to go fast all throughout the entirety of the game, including the nice escape sequence. And of course, these two runners are very, very talented. We've got actually a pool of about, 70 runners, I think, for this qualifier. Get to only showcase these two, but it is going to be one heck of a match. Very, very excited to get ready. I am Clarence, joined here by one of another of the mod team for the main tournament, Ari. And of course, I'm tracking with us. We've got the awesome Sammy. Ari, how's it going? Are you ready for this?
It's going great. I'm so excited. It's, like I said, one of my favorite modes. The only thing that makes it better is like the random chance that the uncle actually gives our sword and we're
correct. Yes.
It's not going to be the sword, but we're going to see what we get in just a little bit.
We're gonna hope. Yeah, of course. I think there's something like a 10% chance, but yeah. So being the we already got boots already. That's actually pretty cool to see. Not that necessarily we need boots for escape because we do have these wonderful bombs. We don't necessarily need bombs for escape because we do have boots in order to get to the back. But you're never gonna complain about a little bit of extra resources. Just because. We want to go to Kakariko, and we do need a couple bombs for that. So we don't really want to go far for something extra. All right, what does Uncle have to us today? We have
bombs. Lovely. All right.
Okay. Well, is this considered like the most probable? I guess I don't really know what the numbers are, but this is definitely something that we had seen quite a staple of for the main tournament, at least 2021, where the entirety of the mode setup was just a standard. So people really got their practice in this case of bomb escape, and hopefully in this case Vortex and Matt is going to brush up their bomb escape guards setups. Going to go hopefully get through these pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's definitely it's probably the hardest one to do fast and not waste resources.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're gonna hope that they kept their knowledge on the bomb escape up to date. But both these runners are super knowledgeable. They both participated in the main tournament last year as well. Both made top 16, so it's gonna be a very even matchup.
Yeah. No, this is going to be great. Yeah, I've actually kind of already seen in this case, especially on Matt's side, being able to lay down those bombs, where the bomb ricochet basically, just pushes the the guards basically into one bomb or right into the other. So very nice kills. And we did get a small key, which means you don't have to necessarily worry about any other dungeon items other than that map. We already have, of course, a requisite when we need to get to the back, and hopefully in this case, if we are paying attention, we're going to be able to see rewards. Okay, speaking of paying attention, Vortex does need to be a bit careful. This is also probably one of the most volatile types of escapes because bombs are probably one of the only weapons that can hurt you as well as the enemy.
Yeah, this is it's a little sketchy. Vortex is probably going to just take a little bit safe. But yeah, it should be fine. There's going to be hearts in pots. Just need to make it past the guard. That's on Matt's screen right now. So depending on RNG, it can be a little close, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Okay, everything's fine. Yeah, by the way, talk about RNG. Yeah, so Matt also got the green guard chasing after him, as well as Vortex. I mean, Matt, probably just a bit more inconvenient in terms of time, but Vortex very, very aptly decided to go after the pot strat, of course, not only for the hearts, but also the pots, as we've seen, do temper sword damage. So only needs 2 pots to kill everything. Oh, whew. Okay, but we'll live. We have not prematurely death worked out of escape, which is you really don't want to see that. Not in rando, not in NMG. It's it's really not a great feeling.
But luckily, the dangerous part is over now. We even have an extra weapon for the key rat if we need it, so we can keep all our remaining bombs. The rest of the escape should be smooth sailing. Matt has a little bit of a lead. Just had fewer issues with the 3 first guards. And making our way to the sewers now.
Yeah. Yeah. So unfortunately, we do have not found a sword yet. We actually do see, in this case, Matt and of course Vortex. They're trying to dash. Oh man, what a nice dash on Vortex's side, by the way. Yeah. Right. They're going to try and dash through and make it, but not having a sword means that they're going to have to prematurely end their dash or kind of like cut their trips short, just because if we run too far into the guards, we are going to get we're going to get hurt more.
Yeah, boots without a sword is very awkward. Like you really want to maximize your dashes, but you also need to be a lot more aware of enemy patterns. Need to cut off dashes sooner, so it's not like it's very easy to have suboptimal dashes and just lose time instead of walking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here you saw Vortex just walking there and made it through a lot cleaner than he otherwise would.
Yeah, and sometimes, while we always want to be able to use those boots. As you said, sometimes it's just actually better to be able to just kind of walk things versus try to dash. Take the 30 seconds to dash, 30 frames to dash, and then have to readjust, and then you just end up kind of like losing more time if you just kind of decide to walk it. All right, Matt, though, speaking of, we've got an extra weapon. Oh, all right, Matt. Gonna try and find the right key, rats. Vortex using a very similar strat. And we got the B. Yeah, so, and of course, this case, it was not quite the good B, but the regular B did its job.
Yeah, Vortex immediately starting off with the B actually made up quite a bit of time, and we're back to almost sync. But Vortex even has the two extra bombs, so that's going to be pretty big. Yeah, taking the bottom route here after without a sword is a little awkward.
Yeah, a good thing these rats only do a quarter heart damage, because Vortex definitely got bumped at least 2 or 3 times here.
Yeah, it's probably just a little bit of casual boost muscle memory. It's like in the bottom, like if you have a sword, it's kind of even between top or bottom routes, but yeah, here there's too much in the way. Luckily, Matt got a few more bombs in the last chest. So it's
it is bombs galore. Yeah, we honestly, I don't even think we saw anything. So we did get a B in a bottle, so it's always very good for Sikid. But other than that, I think the entirety of Escape is just a couple of chump change and bombs, more bombs we can never ask for.
Yeah, and that probably just means that Kakariko is just a very nice place to go to right now. Like,
yeah, speaking of more bombs.
Yeah, we're gonna have enough money for the bottle vendor as well, from blindside, like regardless of anything that is in the chest. So knowing that you'll be able to full clear everything aside from activating the flute, which might not even be accessible early on or at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's it's just nice.
Yeah, no, speaking of, I think extra resources, right? Or the fact that we don't need any. You see that Matt didn't even, I think, try to pull the tree, because I think he realizes that we don't actually need to waste any more time kind of maybe checking the pulls, because as you said, we have enough money, at least for Bottle Vendor, and that's probably all he cares about. And of course, bombs, right?
Yeah, you would like to have like capped bombs after you're done with CAC, because after that you're most likely going to South Shore. But that's just, you can't really bank on that too much, that you that you're going to buy bombs, because that's a time investment as well. So
yeah,
either you kind of assume that you're going to get another weapon, or that you're just going to get like bombs after the well or something, and then you end up online.
I'm hoping for either some more bees in the bottle, which I think would be pretty swell, or a bug net, so we can go catch some more bees. I think it would be quite the entertainment value, and also kind of maybe forcing Vortex and Matt to be a little bit more creative.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can also just get like book, glove, lamp, and Burna, and then we can just do Burna Lamo or something.
Oh, that's also very true. Of course, I have a soft spot for another B weapon. That also, of course, is part of the standard start escape. But that's didn't happen quite this time. We got bombs instead of Burner or the bow. All right, so let's in this case see what we have unlocked here in Kakariko. Nothing more really, but we do get a little bit of extra cash. So we're more than enough, I think, set for Bottle Vendor money. Of course, then now we're kind of looking at the next major target, which is going to be Zora money. Matt, though, not even going to pay attention to the rest of the plots. I'm just going to skip out on those 15 rupees.
Yeah, probably just feels like he has enough, not planning on really buying anything. Just hoping for a 300 and another 100 somewhere, and then like kind of scrounging the rest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
You know, well, speaking of 300, yes, also pun unintended when I said the well. Good filler word, but it looks like though Matt is going to be able to afford Bottle Merchant, and we're going to see in this case how much more extra cash we're going to need for that nice 500 threshold. We do have a lamp, so that's step one, by the way, in the desert predictor. We have a fire source.
Yeah, it's a very dry Kakariko though. Like,
so far it is. We basically just got a lot of cash, which of course could be used to buy many goods and or services. But it is not quite clear as to what kind of goods or services. But yes, all right. So now we have a hook shot, so that can actually certainly get us get us at least some stuff.
Yeah, that makes Mini Modern Cave a lot easier as well. Just making sure that you don't have to spend any actual resources on the mini Moldorms and potentially having to reset out or something. Now we're basically done with money for the seed. That's super nice, finding 2 300s in here.
Yeah, I think that was is that like the latter Patreon that we just saw Sick Kid give up, you know, to Matt and Vortex?
Yeah.
All the ladder bucks basically right here.
Thanks to generous Dunka just giving up all the hard-earned money.
Yeah, you know, he's a big supporter of the main tournament as well, it looks like. All right, so we got real boots, and as you said, we got a hook shot. We don't need those bombs anymore, so we're gonna probably check race game, and then yeah, maybe South Shore is looking pretty tempting, right? Yeah, as you mentioned, Mini Moldorm Cave, the dam, you know, Ice Rod Cave. We can also do Zora, you know, because we can water walk over there with you know, with our boots. So, you know, all things are looking pretty good for a lot more density checks.
Yeah, this definitely makes everything a lot more attractive. Just a combination of money and hookshot just gives a clear path on what to do next. In the meantime, we saw Matt skip the free bombs in the library. I kind of wonder if he just instinctively walked out and then was like, you know, maybe 9 instead of 6 would have been nice. But I'm not gonna double back and go back in.
You know, that's very fair. I guess also for what it's worth. So Matt, you know, ran the qualifier yesterday, you know, for open hard, and I believe that he was a little bit just more remorseful that he maybe like was not as aggressive as he wanted to be. So I don't know if that's necessarily, you know, tailoring to the specific. In this case, strategy, you know, of his, and maybe he's like, oh, well, maybe I don't necessarily need those 3 bombs, right? I can maybe afford to cut a corner here and there. We found a cape, by the way, in the trading item, so yeah. Well, so we're one sword away from visiting our wizard friends.
Yeah, do you smell what the wizard is cooking?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely kind of feels like it, and in that sense, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Vortex, for example, goes west here. Just, yeah. Because this kind of efficiently full clears the light world. Because even if you feel like it's an Aga seed, there is still a chance that there's some form of progression on Agina, and kind of that makes it very easy for Matt to come back to Agina later on.
Yeah, and the fact that we do have a book, so he may want to potentially even go into desert, right, and make one trip over there to the desert area with that book. So
yeah, definitely. Okay, well, but what Vortex did here, like, made a lot of sense in my eyes, and especially in a qualifier setting where you don't need to make the aggressive plays. Like, you only need to do well enough to qualify for the most part. You don't want to get super burned by a location, because there are like 69 people in this race, and yeah, as long as you end up in like the top 10, top 15, you know you're set.
Yeah, exactly, right. So right, the ultimate goal, of course, the qualifiers is that while you would like, as you said, you would like a nice score, or like a, you know, obviously you would like to probably win, you know, one of these things. However, the goal of these qualifiers is just to make the top 128. Now, of course, you want, you know, whatever top, you know, 32 or whatnot if you want to try and make top quartile. But the point is that, you know, you don't need a big. Was that a glove? Highly Island. Okay, well, that's good knowledge. Okay, so most likely those are probably our mitts. But it's certainly very good information to know that we're gonna have to come back for those.
I don't know if those are the mids. Those might.
Yeah, okay. Those are definitely. What? Harry, where are our flippers?
Flippers are probably in pod or something.
Okay, all right. But yeah, because we just sequence broke out the flippers here in Water Warfare, and we certainly did see on Matt's side, and it's probably soon to be on Vortex's side, assuming he survives Ice Rod Cave with crabs, that both the gloves are flipper locked. So that's a very interesting logical development here.
But you're right, Clear Mouse. Those were our myths.
Yeah, that's true. We also
Ice Rod on Sora.
Yeah, we picked up a very interesting item. So we have, of course, not gotten a map check yet. No one's actually been to the Dark World. But speaking of map checks, so Sammy, I didn't even see what the earlier map checks were. We did see one pendant, looks like, in Hera. So, I mean, we got 2 more chances for Turtle Rock to beat that pendant in Dark World as soon as we get over there.
Yeah, the question is, like, if we really want it to be dependent right now. Like, you have the Ice Rod in Zora. Like, I think everybody will reasonably get that. But there is going to be a couple of people that don't really like the early Water Walk. And they will miss out on the early Glove, but also on the early Ice Rod, potentially, which could make for awkward routes later on.
Yeah, and right, and sometimes, especially for the end game, when you're looking for that elusive Ice Rod hunt, right? It is not necessarily about the places that you have or haven't been to. It is the fact that you are no longer looking for it. It is in your inventory, so then you don't have to full clear. Like a dungeon or something. Where you can basically save like quite a bit of time if you already have it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so anything on this mountain right now is completely out of logic. So I think
many things so far I think are out of logic at this point. Because anything that's glove locked right now is out of logic. Anything that's flippers locked is out of logic, including those gloves. And of course, as you mentioned, the mountain, right? Because mountain is either flute or glove locked. But we're also missing a ton of stuff. Like we don't have hammer, we don't have flippers, we don't have a pearl. And this is super high density, right? And especially for people like Vortex and Matt, they're not going to let something as trivial as logic kind of slow them down for being efficient.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think there is something to be said for maybe checking Sahasrara early, like right now, just because you know that it's either going to be like Sahasrara or Eastern that's going to have our logical progression at this rate, which is probably just going to be a sword for Aga to be fair.
For Aga, so we're super healthy too, or protected at least. We've already arced a red mail. Not a lot of heart containers, but we've also, most importantly, got that sword. And as you said though, in this case, let's just say something is at Eastern or Sahab. If there's a bow here, right? We can also just go over to Eastern now and just full clear the place as opposed to double dipping.
Yeah, and well. Maybe it's just a flute, actually.
It also could be too, yeah.
And at this point, like Desert is looking a lot more attractive as well because we actually have like 2 okay weapons. We have a sword, we have the Ice Rod, so we can actually do Lamos as well.
Freaking binary. But it's okay. We'll make do.
I know it's not.
Yeah.
These aren't B things. I know, but. Oh, Matt actually ran out of bombs.
Oh, interesting, man. Oh, are we suddenly regretting not picking up the 3 bombs at library? Oh yeah, and Matt doesn't even have an extra bomb to kind of bomb open the Paradox Cave shop if you really needed to. All right. Well, at least the important. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Also, that there is powder up there. Dead rocks. Thanks. Dead rocks. Thanks.
Yeah, that part is definitely interesting. They could make like an earlier mushroom plus Samaria, like cause either of the runners to maybe decide on whether or not they want to fake powder because they know that the powder is potentially accessible at some point.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And it looks like Matt.
Yeah, really depends on the way the seed will turn out.
Yeah, looks like Matt was. I'm not sure if he was keeping track of the main Molder and prize packs or not, but looks like he's actually going to try and kill some of them, maybe for some extra bombs.
Yeah, the next... It's a bit sad, because the next item was the bomb, because the mini Moldarms are in the big variety price pack.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that was the 20... Because we saw 20 rupees come out of that thing. Oh, that is really... That's really unfortunate for Matt.
Yeah, and then Paradox...
And losing and he lost the 50-50s. Okay, alright, so I guess we're gonna just go with the, plan C at this point, right? Which is just to go buy some bombs. But as you mentioned, it is still gonna be a time investment. Some things are, even though it might seem as trivial as we're gonna go into a shop and buy some bombs, it is still, 30 seconds at least, So, and of course, for a big qualifier like this, facing some pretty stiff competition, it's not really time you kind of want to give up.
Yeah, there's definitely quite some stacked people in this race. But yeah, having to buy bombs, then save and quit, then go to Agahnim where you will find free bombs, which it's a little sad.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, after all is said and done, with that extra purchase from Matt, we're basically tied after Matt runs out of Agahnim. It's like Vortex will be able to go straight to Desert, and that saves a little bit of time, like time back that he invested earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
So slightly. Yeah, it's kind of weird because like the runners do the same thing, but they're also very logical decisions. So in a way, the seed has been pretty linear so far because we didn't really get a lead out of Kakariko. So like then the next logical choice is Mini Modern Cave. Then you only get the book, and you have a lot of money, so you might as well do the Zora area. Then you get the you have glove plus hook shot. Well, let's go up the mountain. Then you get an actual weapon. Let's go to Desert.
Yeah, we can get a crystal out of this, right? We got a lamp, and as you mentioned, we got an ice rod, and we got a glove in order to go to the back. So everything, and of course there are always going to be 2 opportunities for Desert to even give us maybe a potentially better weapon.
Yeah, at this point you just semi expect or hope for a bow, so you can full clear Eastern, and then and then you find the flute there, and then everything's in logic. Let's go to Aga.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, we're still, so we do know another glove is, but of course, that glove is both Flipper's mirror and pearl locked. We are still, of course, missing, the hammer and, in this case, the pearls. So we've kind of exhausted a lot of locations here in Light World already. So we're kind of, running low here, potentially on location. Oh, well, we have a Master Sword then. That's actually, I mean, it doesn't open up anything, but an extra weapon is never going to be sad to say.
Yeah, Vortex currently has beams, which is very nice, potentially for Lamos as well. Kind of.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
So you don't have to recoil when you actually slash the Lamos. So, well.
Oh my gosh, Ari! We have 2 amazing NMG runners. I'm just throwing it out there. Matt has a 124 time that he grinded for earlier this year. Vortex, I believe, as you mentioned, I think he has 125. Maybe hasn't been as active, but I believe that both runners here are very adept with the bow on Lamos.
I'm sure that knowing that we are commentating, I'm 100%
Surely.
sure that they're both just going to equip that bow, give up those potentially 6 seconds or something, just to give us a show,
Exactly. Yes. I mean, what is the benefit of being on Restream otherwise, right?
We're going to get all those arrows back in Eastern anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Now, actually, okay, so I guess for what it's worth, Ari, so we don't have a Dark World map check yet, but, would you, in this case, after having gotten both items, potentially leave, Desert and, save this for later? I mean, maybe not you specifically, but, is there an argument to be made for that, right? Maybe come back here, with, the Fire Rod, can we combo this with Meyer, or something like that?
Well, I think that's risky, because, there's still 2 pendants left in the Dark World. The chance that you get, both flute and mirror is it's obviously there, but I don't think that with ice rod / bow that Lamo is bad enough to delay it.
Okay, that's very fair. Yeah, I mean, some people, I will have, yes. I see Matt is out with the ice rod. I see that potential. Okay, so that's 1 Lamos down. Vortex, though, coming through with the NMG, with the wonderful bow Lamos. Let's see in this case who actually finishes up first. Matt looks like he has exhausted all of his ice rod shots in order to have to go back for the bow.
Okay, I mean, can't complain about Vortex's fight. That was very clean.
Oh no,
Matt will have talks. It's okay. He tried to recover with the bow, so it's fine.
Yeah. We did see a couple of arrows being used. His arrow count is at 28 instead of 30. Vortex is a much nicer count. Is exactly kind of what you want to see after an MG fight. 14 arrows, right? Very healthy number.
And yeah, like again, after all said and done, basically tied still. So this is very exciting race.
Hmm.
I kind of wish we had like all 60 something runners up right
Oh
now.
my gosh,
And just
that would be so amazing to watch. Because yeah, I think you're also right though, just because of just how the seed has kind of progressed in terms of leading runners, right? You of course do the standard escape. You go to Kakariko. You want you're very incentivized to go to South Shore, go get your glove, and then go over to desert. So yeah, actually would have been like quite the spread, I think, right, in terms of just number of racers being basically doing deserts at that point.
yeah, for sure.
Hmm. But yeah, as you mentioned, well, this is also going to be pretty nice, discovery play. We have done pretty much everything so far outside of Kakariko is like in logic or out of logic. So we're going to see in this case what has actually put everything, at least back in some amount of logic.
I'm not going crazy, right? We haven't seen Saha yet, I think.
We have not seen Saha. I believe both runners rushed over to Eastern because they had a glove, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think they want to do Saha after. Is that faster?
I guess I haven't timed it. It's very possible.
All right, of course, Vortex and Matt both remembering this case that we do have a hook shot, so we can save ourselves a couple of extra room transitions in order to get the map chest. But that is our first item, so we had map and blue rupee. We have lamp, and we have, of course, the bow, so we're going to be able to get our one of our 5/6 crystals as well. 2 crystals, even for all Dark World. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Matt also getting a nice arrow drop that, of course, he didn't need. Ooh, spawning an extra Stalfos already.
Okay, they need to stop copying each other right now.
Yeah,
this is getting a little creepy.
Yeah. This isn't NMG. Doesn't help him to do the same thing exactly. Let's see.
So I think even if there's an item here, you don't really get to skip big key chest, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, so we do have Quake, it's our second item, and even the most amenable to skipping the Eastern Panel's big key chest, because it takes like a minute or something like that, right? Seems like even so for something like Matt, he's willing to in this case go all the way. And as you mentioned also before, this is a qualifier. So if this was like a 1v1 race, maybe Matt would be okay, skipping it. But again, you don't want to get burnt, right, by one single location in a big qualifier race.
Yeah, maybe there's like one argument that even if it is slower, it's kind of worth it to do Saha first, because at least then you can make a more informed decision on whether you want to skip this. Yeah.
Okay, well, we got a compass. It's okay. We got a peace of mind. That's the most important part.
Sure. Yeah.
Alright, so of course we're coming here toward the back, and while we don't have necessarily quite the NMG muscle memory here, because NMG we don't really have boots to come in, we've got something a more luxurious movement item, which is of course our boots.
Yeah.
And of course, being very talented runners for Matt and Vortex, they're quite they're quite used to basically do Eastern here with or without the boots.
Yeah, they've done this a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, you can tell, like their movement, Vortex and Matt have been playing, certainly very, very well. I think maybe Vortex had a little bit of a rougher go, in Escape, but of course that was also Bomb Escape, right? Especially having maybe done it for a while, kind of dusting off the old cobwebs, but, other than that, after he's got a sword to it, to his name, Vortex has been, basically right back on the bandwagon.
Yeah, and really, like, most of the issues that Vortex had was because of the second and third guard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, now we're all back in logic.
Yeah, alright, so we got the flute, yeah. So, of course, no glove is supposed to be technically in logic yet, because it was still Flipper's log. We don't know where those are, but we do have our axes up the mountain, which, of course, got us our sword.
Yeah, so at this rate, like, you can... Well, we're still going to do Saha, but, like, the idea is probably that we're gonna do Aga now, and at that point, it's very likely that progression is just in pod, because we don't have a way, like, logically, up to the West Dark World yet.
Very, very good point, yeah. Alright, pendant to the rocks. So, Ice Rod may be just useful for Landmost today. I guess we'll see what ends up happening. Oh, we have a Pearl. Okay, so that's also kind of important.
Yeah, nobody saw that one coming.
Oh, of course. It could be Pearl on Pyramid, like that's always a really classic location for it. Not the one you want to see, of course, but it certainly can happen. Oh, but yeah, we're missing. Have we actually exhausted all of our Light World locations at this point?
I think so. Like,
Yeah, I
the
can't
only
think of
thing you could
anything.
do is like sequence freak hobo, but
Oh yeah, no, we're not doing that. Yeah, but yeah. So right, we are technically still logically gloveless, even though of course we do have one sequence broken for Waterfall Fairy, and of course we're missing the hammer. So 2 items away means we're definitely doing Aga in order to go to get to the Dark Worlds, and of course for this is what a considered to be more fortunate Aga seed in that we always start with boots, but we do have in this case Master Sword versus let's say just a Fire Sword.
yeah, the only problem is that they skipped the boomerang that was in Spec Rock Cave, so they're really missing out.
True. Especially for a very talented 124 runner such as Matt. The boomerang I think actually really will help him actually quite a bit in terms of just his muscle memory.
Yeah, at least we have the hook shot, so that helps as well. And that means that we're going to see a nice little mini game.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna get the
before...
Aga Hall of Fame! I'm so excited, Ari. This is so good. It's like such a treat for everybody involved.
Yeah, we get to see how high our runners can get in the Aga
Mhm.
cutscene. So this is a nice little mini game. It's kind of flex those running muscles with the boots.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but not often we get to come up here with the hook shot and boots. So what we're gonna try and do is we're gonna do an item dash with the hook shot on the stairs, and then we're gonna see how far. So are you always a left side, dasher, I guess, or hooker? Hooker? Are you a left side person or are you a right side person, Ari?
The muscle memory just goes left side on me.
Okay.
So
Fair.
Oh, nice hook there for Matt. Just be able to squeeze that key right past the other guard.
Yeah, it looks like also Matt and Vortex actually running a little bit low on arrows. Unfortunately, Matt did not have enough arrows to kind of shoot more at the red guards, but at least he was conscious enough of his resources in order to pick up some more arrows. But okay, all right, moment of truth. Let's see in this case if Matt or Vortex attempts this.
Okay. I mean...
that's pretty good. All right, so I think he got a little caught up on the stairs getting out, right? And then, but otherwise, it's a solid sub-torch distance.
And a solid 6 out of 10. Oh, okay.
Vortex and Matt are pretty much like mirroring each other, right? I mean, they are probably just like one room apart. So certainly still very good.
Yeah, we'll get that posted up on the billboard.
Yeah, exactly. The real Hall of Fame in this case. The leaderboards.
Yeah, it's like you just have a fridge and you just have all those pictures of people.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, that would be so awesome. We need like an online fridge of some sort. I guess that would be a leaderboard, huh?
Yeah.
A leaderboard that can maybe like open up, for a nice, refreshing, cool drink or something.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, so here we have basically a little bit of downtime. We're going to count some blue balls. So in the meantime, if you haven't done it so yet, be sure to follow the runners. They are putting up a great show for us, and they're trying their hardest to qualify for this tournament, which is going to be super stacked.
Oh yeah. And of course, right, so there are 69 right, you mentioned 69 live participants in this particular qualifier. This is also one of the first years that the admins have decided to also do async as well. So this isn't necessarily, I would say, not representative of like the total pool of applicants. It just happens to be that some people decided to run this async because it's more convenient, for their own time, right?
Yeah, the past few years we noticed that sometimes it's just issues with having even with a big amount of qualifiers, that some people just have a busy life, and especially now that people have less opportunities to work from home and all that, and the mix between time zones. We have America, Europe. We have a couple of people like over in the Asia parts.
Yeah, we have Koreans,
Koreans, Australians,
Australians. Yeah, we have it's and it's also very difficult for not only of course for participants or players to be running all together. It's also admins have to be also around in order to administrate everything, right? So I think the async option just really gave many people a lot of flexibility. All right, Vortex. Yeah, I was gonna say Vortex ended up doing a map check. We just see that this is a pendant pod. That was the only thing I checked because that was the only thing I cared about. at the time. But yeah, of course, we're also confirmed that Matt being the first one, of course, into pod, it is a capital P in the upper left-hand corner. And of course, with no hammer, maybe you don't feel as bad because maybe this is the only time you're gonna have to go into this dungeon to begin with. Right.
Well, okay,
hey,
we're back on logic.
Yeah, we got the flippers now. All right, all good, all good. So now we can actually go get both. Oh no, so one of our gloves. We still need a mirror in this case in order to get our mitts.
Yeah. So one, we're back in logic. Two, this means that we have 2 ways to actually get over to West Dark World. Yeah, in a 1v1 race, you would maybe even consider like skipping out on the rest of pod. You're like, okay, well, this is what I needed to get back in logic.
Really? Oh man, Ari. would you like, I don't know, would you? Yeah, well, bees, like, I don't know. Okay, so I'm certainly very, maybe like certainly more conservative. I don't have as much, I guess, like, racing experience, but like, I mean, well, would you actually like really think about just leaving after flippers in pod?
Like,
and just going?
Gut instinct says yes.
Oh wow, dude! I would, man, that is a popcorn right here. I would be very, very excited. Ooh, Vortex shooting the arrow just a little bit too early. He's going too fast for his own good.
Yeah,
but yeah,
these mimics are a little bit different, so it actually makes it a little bit trickier to get a clean kills on them.
Yeah, although Matt here, just a little bit ahead of Vortex, but he's also kind of demonstrating maybe there's another good reason for, actually just leaving immediately after flippers because, getting around pod without the mirror is, especially on red mail, where you can only death warp so much, right? So, could actually be a potential time save here if maybe we have to come back here later, finish up or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit of it. It's also, like, if you immediately leave, you open yourself up to coming back, potentially with the hammer as well, so then you can actually full clear it if you need to.
True, yeah. And especially, more common than not, right? We're gonna have, I don't know, like 2 items, or sorry, 1 item left on Helmasaur, and then, or something else, and you're just like, I don't want to, I don't want to invest like the 2-3 minutes or whatever I need in order to go, to the back of pod for 1 item later on, right? But if you come back here and there are like 4 or 5, that's actually, certainly a much more palatable investment.
Yeah. But again, like in a qualifier setting, it makes sense to just play conservatively, play safely, don't skip anything crazy, which like both the runners have been doing, even if you've been saying that Matt said he wanted to play a little bit more aggressively, the seed just hasn't really given you the option to. So yeah, it's something very interesting seed so far, and it's just it was definitely not a criticism of continuing. It's just like there's an option.
Oh no, 100%, right? I mean, these are I think the kind of things that potentially would even go through people's heads, right? It's like you got to make a decision, and there's only kind of so much time you can spend in order to decide.
Yeah.
So. And especially, for, we kind of see, like, the gigantic spreads of the races can certainly be, basically decided on one of these, types of decisions.
Yeah, you'll definitely have a couple of people who will actually play these qualifiers to win them. Like, they just want to see that number 1 next to their name. And those are probably the runners that you will like see make those plays. Because, okay, I need to get a 3-minute edge somewhere, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I mean, execution certainly is very vitally important, but, if you're gonna try and save minutes, right, off of people, it is like the best way you can do that is just to not do something, right? In this case, as you said, it's just to be able to skip content. Speaking of, though, we're pretty much the end of the rope here for pod. We have not really seen much else besides those flippers here in the back. So, Ari, I mean, if you had made, the decision on this qualifier to go skip out of the back, you are not going to be sad.
Yeah, apparently.
So quite the good decision.
All right. Might as well just have been a mirror there, and then you were golden.
And that's that's the way that rando goes, right? It gives you both the highs and the lows. Whether you are rewarded or punished depending on decisions is kind of up to the seed. Okay, all right. So we're out of pod. We pretty much getting everything. So where are you gonna go off to? So we don't have a fire rod. We don't have a hammer. Anything?
We're skipping something.
Yeah. So what is the most or least appealing thing for you to skip in this case? Like, are we going to Skullwoods? You know, are we going to the front floor of Thieves? You know, are we going all the way to the back of Thieves? You know, are we going all? I mean, presumably we're going to run eventually all the way over to Hype Cave and stuff. But you know, until then, right? What do we actually go do?
Okay, so my
What's
general
that?
instinct is to right now I would probably just skip the front of Skull, skip the back four of Thieves, and just do like a cursory clear of everything. Hope to find either hammer or mirror, and then if I have to like make a second loop, so be it. But knowing where the myths are, like I just feel somewhat tempted to be like, okay, I just hope I can like get the mirror somewhere or get the myths and then have an easier access later and just make a like not make a very awkward skull dip, a very awkward back of Thieves time dip.
Very all right.
But-
That sounds super very reasonable.
But yeah, what Matt is doing here is like the more general play you would make, and especially in a qualifier setting, this makes a lot of sense. Just be as thorough as possible. Try to get your second piece of Dark World access, so you don't have to go all the way back over this river that Vortex is going over right now, and make sure you don't have to like make an extra long trip across the world again.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think that's actually a very fair point as well, because right now, before this, since we don't, as you mentioned, have a hammer or the other myths or something, right? We really only have one entry into Dark World, which is, of course, that Aga portal, and to get back here, man, I mean, even with boots, it's kind of a trek, right? So you really kind of want to maybe try and maximize your time here.
Yeah. So we saw a nice early bomb jump on Matt's side here. That's definitely
Matt-
pretty hard trick just to save a second.
Matt has been gaming for NMG, right? We saw him, of course, do the easiest room in the game, the Skullwoods. His always, I want to say his namesake room. I'm still waiting for the emote, but he has somehow he is like the Gibdo Whisperer. I don't know how he makes that room easy every single time, but he sure does it. I was gonna also say too, Vortex also kind of demonstrating his NMG skills. He did Quick Fish when he went to go visit Catfish. It is the.
There
Well,
you have it.
I guess we're gonna go clear Skull Woods, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Matt might just leave here, because we're done here. We got both items, and it's pretty likely that like we know that Meyer is a crystal, so we know that we can get back to Skullwoods pretty easily later on anyway. And if you can get like Tempered Sword and maybe a couple extra hearts, the fight becomes a lot easier.
Yeah. Also, I guess like if we're gonna beat Mothula right now, I'm gonna assume that also we're running out of Skullwoods because again, we don't want to reinvest the time to come back over here. So we're gonna run out of Skullwoods and go back, let's say, like the Thieves Town and everything else. Versus, right? Maybe we just go further south and we can come back with whatever flute and mitts and whatever else, right? We're gonna go clear Skullwoods.
Yeah, but yeah, overall deciding just to have some peace of mind, finish off the boss.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
And a third crystal to their name, which is something to be said.
Yeah, no, and in fact, actually, I guess even with potentially this whole being the Aga seed, right? So we do a little bit more content, extra dungeons that we had to kind of go through. So far, though, no real outside of Pod, right? We've pretty much just gone straight for our crystal dungeons, which is really cool to see.
Yeah,
and then right, it's like no, and even though we did have to go into Pod, it's not like you had much of a choice at that point, right? We don't really have any other options. Thank you, Vortex, for not getting grabbed. Holy cow! That was a little scary. Yeah. Oh, unfortunately, though, Vortex also has his sword beams, but who cares?
Nice.
Because yeah, Vortex here knows how to take down Moth.
Very clean 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fire rod is a really good find, by the way, because if you did something like I was potentially suggesting, you would have been in big trouble if you got like mitts and hammer and mirror and all the other axes, because you're never gonna go back into Skullwoods until you have the fire rod.
Yep.
So actually finding that is huge.
Yeah, and of course, right, we already kind of checked because we came over from the right side, right, of Dark World, and we've already kind of checked Bumper Ledge. So it's not like you have any more kind of incentivization in order to kind of like get back over here.
For sure.
Without the fire rod, right? All right. Okay. So while we did find a very necessary item, in Skull Woods, we still have not found the hammer. I don't know if it's going to necessarily detract these guys from going into and finishing the back of Thieves Town, but certainly looks like front four might be pretty palatable, despite the fact we still have no mirror in order to kind of death warp us out through.
Yeah, and with the red mail, it's a little bit awkward to death warp efficiently. Like, you have the sparks and all that, the fire snakes, but those are... Okay, well, never mind.
Oh, you know what? Never
We're in
mind. Yeah, but
business.
we have a mirror. always check surrounding areas before I guess you go in. Maybe this is a good lesson. Maybe hammer will just be right here in the brewery, and then we can go clear out, Thieves Town with no problems whatsoever. So close. It was not quite the hammer, but it was well, no, there's nothing related, even resembling a hammer for the heartbeats.
Yeah, whether you clear Thieves Town here or not is kind of an interesting decision. Chat was saying that for Pyramid Ferry, it's definitely a very reasonable option. But knowing that you can get the mids and can clear quite a bit of overworld that could potentially have the hammer, it's a really difficult decision to make.
Oh, hey, Vortex is remembering that we do have a mirror and we do have a flute that we got in Eastern that we still haven't activated. So hopefully in this case, Matt's gonna actually remember to activate this after Thieves Town as well.
I 100% forgot that we had the flute.
Yeah, same, absolutely same. I was like, why is Vortex mirror? Oh, yeah.
I honestly was thinking, like, wait, where did we get this? Did I miss it? But no, it was just pre-Aga.
Yeah, that's right. Because again, right, like, we did so much, basically, before coming into Dark World. We had 2 crystals, may or may not have been in logic, type of thing, but we had 2 crystals, and pretty much all of, like, World Full cleared out. And the flute was only one piece of the puzzle that put everything into logic. Oh, look at that. All right, Matt actually not going to go to the back. Very interesting decision. Also very reasonable. But more importantly, he did remember to activate the flute. Always a little bit, more awkward, right? You suddenly want to use the flute, and then you're like, oh no, I forgot to activate it. And then it's actually a non-trivial trip back here to Kakariko. Despite the fact that we have boots. Any type of this kind of extra, like, I need to go back a second time, you really kind of want to combine it with something else. And just to activate the flute is very awkward.
Yeah. So one rationale to not finish this right now is because you probably are coming back to this area anyway for something like Smith Chain, because we can't take that with us.
Right.
We can get the mids, but first you have to make the loop back over to Lake Hylia for Hylia Island. And so you're gonna do, like, the cursory overworld here anyway, like Digging Game, Cave 45, Stumpy, Hype Cave, etc. But after you get the mids, then you can just go back, maybe do, like, Myers Shed, Dark Death Mountain first, just to get the information for, like, if you need a medallion or not. And then you can come back, maybe with the hammer, and then do Smith Chain if you need anything more. So, like, doing it in 2 trips kind of makes some sense, even if doing it right now opens yourself up to being able to do Pyramid Ferry as well.
And I guess, of course, even for this entire chain, right, if we just end up finding the hammer, right, it automatically then becomes something that's way nicer. But yeah, but as you said, like, with the flippers and with the mirror, we can, as we're kind of making our way over the cursory overworld, we are going to be able to end our trip over in order to go get the mids at the very end. So we have many reasons to come back, or to go back to Thieves Town. But Vortex here is gonna at least he's in the back, going through. We're gonna basically take a quick peek as to where all the where the last remaining item is.
We got it in attic. It was a.
Okay. Well then, easy. Well, who needs the hammer?
Yeah. Yeah. If the small key is in Blind's chest here, at least we also know that Pyramid Ferry isn't logic without the hammer. If the small key is just in the big chest, then it is hammer locked. But yeah, okay, well, we're all good here.
All right, looks like though Matt with his swords and book. We are going to check out what is on either tablet. We have another, so we're finally getting a little bit more, at least, like, actual health in addition to mail. So both the runners are, in this case, quite healthy. I mean, I don't think anyone really was ever in danger of, like, dying or anything. I mean, maybe we had a little bit of a scare and escape for early on, but I think at this point, once you get red mail and any amount of heart containers, I think you just think you're invincible. So.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, like, even the fact that we only have Master Sword, like we're in business.
Oh yeah. All right, so what potentially do we actually still need for go mode, other than kind of like the still like major items? So we still need a hammer. We
Yeah,
need
it's
some
like
Mario.
Hammer, Cane, Medallion, and that's about it.
Okay, all right. Well, then that actually doesn't seem as bad, right? I mean, of course, we don't know what the Mario Medallion is right now, because it still could be pretty elusive because we haven't been over there yet. Matt is going to pick up his myths right now, presumably, and maybe Mirror, and then we're going to go get our information.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Mhm.
I assume that it's just like, okay, do I need Quake for Mire? Oh, I need something else? Okay, well, time to go probably to Dark Death Mountain, because that's six big checks right there. Plus we can pick up the powder, which you can also like immediately combine with Smith Chain afterwards, which is very
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. Oh, all right. Matt
Hobo
is,
check as
that's
well.
right. That's man. Matt, see, this is why like Matt and Vortex have such good memories. I mean, it's really good because they're also the ones playing the scene, but like I also 100% forgot about Hobo.
They also have a map tracker right next to them, so.
Okay, fair. Yeah. But yeah, this is also 100% logic. Whether or not in this case it's also still not as convenient to do without the mirror. Oh, half magic. Okay, that's not
That's
bad.
comfy.
Yeah, especially I think in this case with Cape, Master Sword, no silvers. If we eventually go and take down like Vitreous or something, right? Or like Cold Stare, right? We're gonna have a nice comfy time.
Oh yeah. Cape plus half magic plus Master Sword is like you can just keep on slashing forever, and it's great.
Yeah. So. All right. What is our entry today? It is a Quake. Okay, so we do have that. That was from Eastern Palace, I believe. So that is very convenient. So 2 items actually required at Eastern today. Eastern, don't never skip Eastern.
Yeah, except Eastern Big Key Chest apparently, but
yeah, that's true. Yeah, who needs that particular location? Okay, but looks like
yeah, it's still not very tempting to dive though. Like you can potentially like go in, be like, okay, well I got Flute, I got Quake, I can get in. Maybe there's progression in there. It's kind of rough. There's a lot open right now, but with like Dark Death Mountain, Matt still has the front of like the back of Thieves plus Smith Chain, which he's probably doing right now.
Okay.
Yeah, like for Vortex, like Pyramid Fairy is open. There's like Pendant Hera potentially. You can like do Hammerless Eyes. Hammerless Caneless Eyes is probably.
Yeah, that seems kind of on the lower end of the attraction scale.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's probably a swipe left or something.
Yeah. So I was actually gonna be a bit curious. So like so the fact that Matt has the myths now, like would you be tempted at all to go back to Dark Death Mountain? Maybe go pick up powder, from like Hookshot, or from Floating Island, and then come back and do like all of the village stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning. I probably would have done that because because you can't do hammer packs yet, so it's not like the fact that you have to like stay in the light world after getting like the purple chest mirroring for the powder and then like fluting to 7. It doesn't really punish you that much. So having the powder like for after Thieves would have been really nice. Of course, Dark Death Mountain is a time investment, but like we don't have that much left anyway.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of options, but nothing is like really good aside from Dark Death Mountain and Smith Chain.
Oh no, Vortex?
No, we got it.
Oh, okay. Oh, phew, yeah. I think I almost didn't even register that, like, yes, we also did beat Aga, so we got a nice little shortcut in order to be able to do Big Bomb, so... okay, so it looks like we're just... The red guard is gonna basically just play interference to us, so we're just gonna walk it again, over.
Yeah, you have, like, one shot to get, like, the hook into the dash to make sure that the Big Bomb keeps following you, but afterwards, the red guard's just too much of a pain. So yeah, this is the one thing that Matt didn't like open himself up to. So there's the cane.
Oh, that's a pretty important discovery. So now Vortex is going to be able to go over to Mire and basically just clear out the entire dungeon. So actually, are we in Hammer Go mode?
Yeah, we are.
Amazing.
Yeah, Vortex is gonna grab his mitts now, find out that he actually only needs the mirror or the hammer. I'm sorry. And then yeah, it's off to the races. There's a lot of locations open for it now.
You're right. Despite the fact that it is hammer go mode, it is. Sadly, there are some pretty terrible locations that the hammer could be in. As you mentioned, I believe you said there was a caneless, hammerless ice. So we're gonna still take out the cane of that caneless part, but hammerless ice still isn't super attractive either. There is first test of swamp. That's also kind of not really attractive. And of course, there's also a bunch of other stuff on the mountains here. Like we can go to like Hera, right, with the mirror. We can, I guess it can't be a Turtle Rock for what it's worth, but yeah.
Yeah, it's Yeah, I didn't realize this before, but Pyramid Fairy is slightly awkward for Matt right now. At least he doesn't have powder, so if he wants to, he can like run all the way to the purple chest guy and then stay in the Dark World and do Pyramid Fairy after. But otherwise, it's gonna take a while to run all the way over there. It's a little isolated.
Yeah, because Matt definitely needs to go over to Pyramid Fairy. Yeah, for that cane, and of course the hope is that he is not gonna go dive like Meyer without it, because he's going to be in a very sad time once he basically does all the he full clears out the entirety of front of Meyer, and there's gonna be nothing there for him. Okay, so I guess so the hope in this case, of course, certainly from Vortex's perspective, is that we're just gonna find the hammer here in Meyer, and then we're good,
Yep.
Comfy Agahnim, very linear. That'd be great.
Yeah, and I think if that's the case, that most people will be very pleased with this qualifier because it's like a semi-linear seed. Like the only real possible divergence we had was like whether you finish Thieves and whether you do Pyramid Fairy or not. It's a pretty divisive issue. Like you definitely see people on both sides of that coin. Yeah, Matt is sadly just fluting over to 7 and turning in a purple chest, which is, it's reasonable. It's a lot faster than just running over in the Dark World and then going back.
I think there's also maybe another question, divisive point about potentially skipping out on pod after the flippers, right? Because we didn't see anything that was back there. So, for those people who actually just basically left after one piece progression, they would have certainly been very rewarded in this game.
Yeah, I don't know how many people would actually do that in a qualifier setting, but yeah.
Did you see that nice Waffle House, by the way? And yes, but you're right. You're right. Qualifier certainly. I think you're right though. In general, people seemed a bit more, on the whole, seemed a bit more conservative, right? So in this case, they're more willing to. They're not willing to let themselves get burned by, as you said, one or set of locations, right?
Yeah.
Of course, but you also do see, on the flip side, you see people who are like, well, where am I cutting out 3 minutes? I'm leaving after flippers, type of thing.
Yeah, you will always have a couple of these people, and usually they do get burned, but once in a while that they don't get burned, they just suddenly put up like a 110 on a seed like this, and it's like, how?
Yeah. Certainly the feeling of, you finishing the seed and then the delay runs out and then the next person still hasn't finished yet, is it's quite, I imagine it had to be quite surreal.
Yeah, if you're just feeling pretty good about a race, and you're just like almost on the way to GT, and suddenly you just see 1 or 2 dot downs pop up, it's like, wow.
Oh yeah. All right, Vortex is trying to do some more, I think, more NMG movement here based on Meyer, but it didn't actually look like the Sparks were willing to cooperate with him.
Yeah, Folklore Meyer definitely doesn't feel great. The difference between potentially go moding this and finding a big key early and finding the big key really late.
There's, I don't know, is that so? Okay, yeah, we found hammer. Is that good for Matt? Well, actually, so that's gonna mean he's gonna be able to do Pyramid Fairy, right? Or it's gonna make it less.
It's easier to do Pyramid Fairy, but he can also do swamp. He can also do ice.
Oh,
so it's the question.
Oh,
it's
without the cane too. Yeah. Oh.
So I think the ideal scenario right now is that Matt goes into swamp, finishes it, maybe just skips left side, then goes over, does Pyramid Fairy, finds cane, and then knows he's in go mode, can do Ice and Mire. The worst scenario is if he just full clear Swamp and Ice first, and then like goes back to Hammer Packs and does Powder, all those things.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh.
But
That's
he's
a pretty
going
bad
he's going to
scenario.
Swamp first. So I mean, I think this is the reasonable option. But what he does after this is really going to like decide what happens between these two runners.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I guess for what it's worth though, because like he may realize that he's in Kane go mode, right? Because he knows he can get into Mire, and so maybe, you know, with only missing one item, he's willing to skip out on left side. Maybe, right? Because, you know, especially in this case, maybe he thinks that, well, we can always maybe come back later, later asterisk. Maybe later is just never. And you know, with a lot more other appealing options out there, yeah, maybe left side. You know, he doesn't have to take like the 3-minute investment in order to get over there.
Yeah, it's really difficult because like I think left side Swamp, there's something to be said about not like if you leave left side Swamp, not leaving it until last. But realistically, if you leave it, you're just never coming back until it's the last thing you do.
Yeah.
And
I guess for what it's worth, right? Maybe Pyramid Fairy, then they do have Agahnim. We didn't see on Vortex side. It's like a very slightly, you know, shortcut, you know, shorter time in order to maybe get to Pyramid Fairy. So maybe that kind of factors into his calculus. But I don't know. Like,
I think if Matt is actually just like in qualifier mode, that he'll realize that Pyramid Fairy is something that people who do Feast on the first trip, that they will just that they will do on their way to the mids.
Okay,
like,
very fair.
If that's the case, yeah, sure. Like he'll be more likely to do it just to make sure he doesn't get burned. If he's just going like I just want to be as efficiently as possible and find Kane, then he might just leave it for a while. Like if he's just I want to win this race and not I want to place well.
Very fair. All right, Vortex has finished up Mire. His victory fight was actually pretty clean, and of course we had the requisite 8 arrows. After after Vitreous and Mire for NMG, but
perfect.
We did actually have a couple. Yep. But yeah, he certainly did take quite advantage of basically using the half magic and the cape and the spins, and got a couple of extra ones on the big eye. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, very clean. Yeah, he'll be checking quick. He'll be checking. Checkerboard right now, and then he'll probably just make his way over to Death Mountain. I think that's like the densest option he has left.
Yeah, he's got Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave, and he go pick up the powder, right? He hasn't any of the Smith's Chain, so yeah, maybe he wants to try and be a bit more efficient, right? And as you kind of alluded to earlier, being able to basically take everything in one trip.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we got a lot of, yeah, we got a lot of items so far in Swamp. I think we saw a compass in the map chest, but everything else, and we did see the big key. So I think there's only the. Never mind. Never mind. We're just gonna pretend that we didn't see any of this stuff. Yeah. So Matt got a shovel, and he got I think a heart piece and 10 arrows or something. So.
Yeah. The shovel is like. Like you would think it pulls him north, but I don't think it really affects the way he's gonna route this. But yeah, we'll see what he does after this. I find it really hard to call. Like this is just one of those moments that is really up to the runner and how they feel about the race. And like I think Matt can feel either just perfectly fine or just like I could have skipped this, I should make a play.
And it's also really hard, I guess, to kind of maybe also tell, like in the moment of things, right? Although, so I guess speaking of potentially, I guess having some more unknowns. So we are still on Master Sword and regular arrows. And while I'm very happy to be able to see a good amount of bow landmost being done, it would be kind of nice for our runners. Maybe they can get an extra sword or two, or silvers somewhere.
Yeah, it would be great. We don't have that much left. We don't have that much left to open, though.
True. Yeah. Vortex is really, he is really, making the hammer pickup right here, just that much more rewarding because he worked so hard in order to get this. All right, so that is official go mode for Vortex at 1 hour and 2 minutes. Of course, for him, for his sake, or for, he would certainly probably like to see a sword, but again, Vortex is, more than capable of being able to Master Sword Silverless. Speaking of though, we are here with Matt with 2 known items on left side swamp. So you know, if this is a sword, you know, or silvers for Matt, it would be certainly quite. I mean, it still doesn't make him feel great in this case about, you know, doing left side, but at least, you know, he's gonna get some of that time back.
Yeah, at least at that point, it just like feels like comfort plus a partial refund on the time investment. So I think he'll be all right. Like he'll feel fine finding a sword there. But yeah, yeah. It would need to be a sword and or silvers, I think. Like even silvers is only like a fraction. Like it's less than the sword would gain him, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, like Matt is doing left side swamp here because he doesn't want to leave it behind. Like at this point, this point, like if you skip left side swamp, you're never coming back. And if the cane is here, you're just gonna have a dumpster of a qualifier race, and you really don't want that.
Exactly.
So you'd rather just invest 3 minutes and lose like 4 or 5 points on your qualifier, but still know that, okay, my execution is good enough. I know I'll make it even if it's like average rather than good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and as you said, like for nice, saving the 3 frames in order to get to the hook dash or the hook skip block, whatever, on left side. But yeah, like, you know, as you said, like is there any difference in terms of like qualifier seeding between seed number 1 and seed number 32? Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, like no, right? Because, you know, rando is very rando, right? And you kind of just want to be maybe in like the buckets, right, as opposed to single places. So yes, as long as you qualify, you know, you'll be quite happy. Honestly, I don't even think it's actually that bad, or, you know, I guess like even that great in order to, like, so long as you're in the 128, honestly, it's just so hard to kind of try and seed people like correctly, quote unquote, right, within even the top 128. So so long as you're basically making the next stage of the tournament, like you're good.
Yeah, so sadly, Matt is just going straight to the dungeons, doing ice right after swamp. It's a very reasonable decision. Like, we as the viewers know, no, just go to Pyramid Ferry. That's not okay. Matt doesn't know that. Matt doesn't care. He just wants to complete crystals and try to be efficient. Like, doing overworld is such a hard call. So, very reasonable decision just to be, like, try to be efficient and full cleary, but also, like, progressing his goal at the same moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the fact that, you know, Matt is even willing to dive Ice Palace, right? Because like how many times have we seen Kane inside Ice Palace, right? You know, where the hammer was actually in a pretty terrible location. So
I mean, if it happened more, maybe we would see more people dive Ice Palace without the cane. But sadly, it doesn't happen nearly enough.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, from Matt's perspective, you know, as you said, this is going to be another crystal for him. You know, he is going to, as you said, you know, we're progressing towards our goal of getting all 7 crystals. So, especially if Kane is here, you know, he doesn't need to waste time doing anything else. He doesn't have to make more difficult decisions, right? About, oh man, do I do Pyramid Fairy? Do I do Smith Chain? You know, do I go back? You know, do I do Graveyard Lunge? Right? You know, there are many options, you know, for him on the table if you know, that he doesn't have to make if the Kane is just here. Argus. Master Sword Argus, by the way, is never a fun fight.
This was a phenomenal fight from Vortex. It didn't like save as much time as it could have, but the strat that he did is so hard. It's like Vortex really showed off there. That's awesome. Yeah, Vortex making quick work of the seed. He only has 1 crystal left, and then it's off to GT.
Right. This is the same crystal dungeon that Matt's in right now. Oh, all right. Yeah, but I guess like the main difference though between Vortex and Matt is that Vortex is no longer looking for something. I mean, well, maybe I assume he'll maybe like open up a chest or two, you know, if there's like tempered or something along the way. But yeah, he is definitely not looking for any more amount of progression. Versus Matt is still potentially looking for that Key to Samaria.
Yeah, and they're probably going to be like in a very similar room, even though they're in very different like percentages of the dungeon. Yeah, so for people who came in like semi-late, this wasn't Aga seed. It was kind of like a late Aga as well. We were able to do quite a bit in in the light world. We also like sequence broke a glove that was flippers locked. We saw another glove on Lake Hylia, so we had a lot of information already. But yeah, all the pieces like came semi-late, and then we still had to do Pendant Pod, and then just a normal post-Aga Darkworld clear. So it's still going to be a semi-fast seed, but yeah, just the early game made it drag on a little bit.
Yeah, there was just a lot of content that we had to get through in order to basically get through the rest of the seed. But yeah, but in this case, like unfortunately, for the case of Matt, because the Cane is at Pyramid Fairy and his, I guess, kind of like one of his mid-game decisions made things a bit more awkward. He is going to spend a bit more time in these dungeons. But yeah, otherwise, though, I certainly would kind of expect a good portion of the field to kind of finish quite quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think top end, like, I wouldn't be surprised with like a 115 or something. Anything faster would be really, really good. But like from 115 to 125, you're gonna see a couple races trickle in.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Speaking of, all right, so we're also kind of getting like a side-by-side almost comparison, between, in this case, Vortex clearing out Ice Palace with the Canis Amaria versus Matt clearing it out with with no Canis Amaria, because
Matt, please.
Yeah.
That was all. He almost had to reset the room, like go up a floor and then fall back down, because that was really sketchy.
Okay. Yeah, we're seeing Vortex do open up a couple more chests on the way, right? He's got half magic, he doesn't worry about Cold Stare or anything like that. But maybe looking for that sword or silvers. But yeah, other than that though, like Vortex is pretty much all the way to Cold Stare. It's kind of like the power of of Canis Amaria in this case.
Yeah, if she full clear Ice Palace with or without Samaria is such a huge difference, and just like go mode Ice Palace versus full clearing it without the Cane is, yeah, it's immense, and that's why people delay Ice Palace so much without the Cane, because it is a pain. But yeah, if Cane isn't here, obviously, then it's a great feeling if you go in here early.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Matt, I mean, we all know, of course, again, Samaria for Matt is just sitting in Pyramid Fairy, unknown if that is where he's gonna go. It looks like that is where he's gonna go, at least according to this portal. Never mind, we're gonna go check that shovel that we got in Swamp. Maybe afterwards is Pyramid Fairy? I guess I don't know. I mean, we're all just hoping that he's gonna go there soon.
Yeah, there's a couple of isolated checks left. Like maybe he even dips into Myra after this.
True. The Cane can be a mire.
Like, we still have powder, we still have hammer pegs, we have Pandantera, we can finish Helma. That's probably less tempting. Like, I think at this point he's hedging his bets and just doing Pyramid Fairy now. Like, it does look. I don't think he has anything else left in this area, so that would make the most sense.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Well, so this is going to be very good for Matt. He's not going to feel great about it because, as you just mentioned, Ice Palace clearing without the Cane is not a great feeling. He also did go through left side swamp, to go back for, which is also not a great feeling because obviously the Cane, if he just had this before everything, he would have been able to skip all of that. But the good news is that he didn't waste any more extra time, going through all this. So
yeah, he's probably gonna be like, okay, sure, I did a lot of extra stuff. It's not great, but at least I didn't do Penitera. I didn't double admire. I was able to do. I was full clearing dungeons, but at least they were crystal dungeons.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, it's gonna be sure, not happy but content.
Yeah. It's gonna be one of those man, if I just had sequenced this earlier. It's not like he decided to. He's been playing very well, right? I mean, in terms of execution, it just happens to be in this case. Rando is gonna be Rando. Like in this case, if Cane was just an Ice Palace, man, he would have looked so brilliant, right? So. Just happens to be in this case that it wasn't. But speaking of on Vortex's side, we are already on our way to GT. We are still on Master Sword and Silverless, but Vortex has faith, and we're gonna look for the very last thing we need in the game, which is that GT big key.
Yeah, could be anywhere. We're lots of different routes possible in GT. I'm not exactly sure which one Vortex favors. Might just be Brain routes, Stalfos into Compass, and then back left, but just looks like a hope. hope if small key, proceed to the right. If no small key, I'm just gonna go full left.
Yeah, all reasonable. We have also apparently somehow 1,000 rupees on. We have a lot of money on both sides. In fact, I didn't even realize that until just now.
Yeah, we found a lot of the 300s.
Yeah. Yeah, but also so we got a small key in Hope Room, which means that as you said, we can continue. So most likely this is going to be a compass room check. And then if the big key is not here, we'll steal the key, and then we'll go all the way to the left. Nice.
Yeah,
nice
and if then we don't have it, we're just gonna commit to top room. Not much else left.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. It is not here, so we're gonna go grab our key, and then we're gonna go all the way to the left side. And of course, with this particular route, I guess just in terms of time and density of the Leap Hope Room going over is faster, just so you don't have to repeat basically going up to left twice.
Yeah.
All right, but meanwhile, though, Matt here is in Meyer. I don't believe the big key was in the cutscene chest. I think it was somewhere earlier. Maybe it was in Compass, but basically that's all he's looking for. He's not definitely gonna not look for anything else.
Yeah, I think it was in Compass. Not 100% sure.
Okay.
Anymore.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? So there's the big key.
All right. Surely there's a sword here too.
A sword or silvers? Come on.
Tragic.
Not quite.
Okay, I would imagine that both runners will at least check the top 4 chest as well, like after the climb. I think with how much we cleared of the game, like the only real dense stuff that is left. Like, I mean, for Vortex maybe it is like Swamp Ice as well, but like only Turtle Rock is really a place where a sword can be aside from Dance Tower.
That was a really cool Mimics one. Like
yeah, Vortex put so much time into those strats. He's really grinded out the Mimics, and
holy cow. I mean, like and he does the switch strat here too. Vortex was he just you said he was just maybe taking a break? Because he certainly has a lot of really good execution tricks here in GT.
Yeah, I think he's really been de-rusting. Like, I think that Mimics is something he always comes back to once every while. So I think those are called the zero rush Mimics. I think that's his strat. I'm not 100% sure anymore, but yeah, like if there's something that Vortex loves, it's like doing swag strats that also save a lot of time.
No, that's awesome. Also, really cool to see kind of like things done in Brando as well. I think it's just especially for GT execution, we talk about players playing very well, but it's not often you get to kind of see like these little things kind of like being shown off. The Restless Gauntlet though with these Isaacs though, this Vortex is having a little bit it's getting bullied here.
That's the problem with Master Sword, because like those red Isaacs just won't die, and I think there's something with the conveyors that make like directional slashes really difficult. So that's why he had so many. Like the combination of the two is why he had so many issues. It's just a lot harder.
No, for sure. I mean, especially like for we talk about NMG a lot. Vortex has a very impressive 125 time, right? You have Tempered Sword, which is a huge difference, versus Master Sword.
Yeah,
you'll say that about the Gauntlet. You'll say that about Ganon. You'll say that about basically about like so many boss fights, right? And then there's a reason why like we try and get the NMG run tries to get Tempered Sword as early as possible.
Alright, Matt also, having finished the 7th Crystal, very clean mire, very solid viddy. He's making his way over to GT.
Yep. Second Waffle House today. Not maybe as smooth as the first one, but we still did not get dead rocked, or at least blocked as much. I spoke too soon! Oh no! This can happen?
Dead rock purgatory.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Where's the powder? Matt has the powder. We even go picked it up. He should take revenge, but he probably at this point doesn't. He's just gonna be
powdered.
yeah. But probably at this point he just wants to, just get the seat over with. Oh, look at that! Look at those beautiful silvers sitting on top and mini helmet left. Always a sight for sore eyes.
Are we going to see a hover here now? It's like, okay, I got silvers, I'm good. I'm not gonna bother with Mulder 2 here.
with tempered? I mean, would you not check for tempered? Okay, so
we'll check.
silver's silver's certainly okay. All right. Everything's fine.
Okay, some of these hook shots are maybe a little optimistic. Okay, that's better. Yeah.
Okay, so one more spin. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, so like the silver arrow certainly does save quite a bit of time on phase 4. But you know, it's also kind of like you would like to save some time on phases 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but looks like though, you know, whether if the tempered or the other sword were, you know, in GT, you know, it was definitely not within our reach, you know, because we already checked Hope Room, we already checked Compass Room, we already checked Stalfos Room, and we of course checked all of Upper GT, so it's just in this case not gonna happen. Matt, in this case, actually saving, I believe, a little bit of time with going to Stalfos Room first, because you know the GT big key was here, and he's gonna have a requisite small key in order to go up. So
yeah. Not having to do anything else, being able to go straight up. Very nice. Oh, that's a bit of a rough cycle. Yeah, these are not very easy paddings either. Like, or like kind of trying to optimize them, which sometimes, you know, works the opposite. Like trying to make sure you can hit them all and then like just being a little off on timing. But managed we did a 4 cycle anyway, I believe. So that's still more than solid. But yeah. Like even in qualifiers, race nerves do kick in, especially at the end. It's like you're just seeing all the duns trickle in.
I was actually wondering. So I think maybe for you specifically, like I think you always have the race room up, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, I'm just wondering for for maybe like the general populace, right? I'm sure it's very person specific, but yeah, like I can certainly imagine seeing all the duns kind of come in, like trickle in, like and cause quite a bit of anxiety as well. Or maybe you're just avidly glued onto the thing, and that causes you to, then maybe that's a motivation for you to go to play better,
Yeah, I think it's kind of like positive excitement. It kind of depends on the race as well. Like if the stakes are really high, it might be different. But like the big qualifiers are just like it's a very different feeling than a race.
Oh yeah. I would say, Matt also showing off his NMG skills. He did get Ganon Ball Z, the room done very well as well.
Excellent. Yeah, solid cave strats on Vortex side. So you sometimes with Master Sword see like Kane of Samaria strats, but cave strats are just very safe and also reduce lag, which helps.
Yeah, with a potion, with half magic, as you mentioned with Cape, I mean, it's you have a lot of resources here and flexibility on your side.
Yeah, and he knows he doesn't need as much magic for phase 4 because he has the silvers.
Exactly.
So, like, even after the potion, he was able to keep on going.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, Matt is choosing to use the other rod that he did not use in Landmost 1 and opting for the fire rod here in Landmost 2. It looks like it's going to be a faster finish time. But still, of course, conscious enough in order to get, Samaria, in order to save enough magic, basically, for the rest of the climb.
Ice Rod Landmost is really hard.
Yeah, it is. I think that's probably why he decided to switch to the bow at the very end, Go back to more of his NMG comfort level.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I really hope that Vortex didn't override his arrow with a beam. I'm not sure if you can do that on Ganon, but...
This is the first time I'm even hearing the possibility.
Okay. He's just slashed immediately after the arrow, and I was worried.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, so alright. So get your GGs out in chat for Vortex. It looks like we're gonna get official time here. But he has finished up this qualifier with, let's see, 121.49. Let's see if we can get an official placement. All right, Vortex is finished in 7th place. Official race time, of course, 121.51. Oh man, talk about... you said something about 115, Ari? So we have, starting for the list of finishers, first place in this qualifier was Gem with 113.27. Second place, about 5 minutes afterwards, is Humbug with 118.35. We have Tito's, Trinex, CS Tutor, and then 2C. I mean, these are like ridiculous names, by the way, in this qualifier. Talk about being stacked.
I remember Trinex saying in like the the pre-race fistfight channels. Like, I haven't raced since December. I wonder if I should join. Well, here we it's just
Well, here we go.
so.
Yeah, he made top 5. So I think if things hadn't really changed from last year, I think they still take top 5 as like whatever part-time, right? And that's like the, you know, whatever.
Yeah, so it looks like a
the
part-time of about 118, 119, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, probably like mid 118, I would say. But well, we'll have the officials on that soon.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. But yeah, that's an insane time from Gem. Huge GGs, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Assuming he did not find a Master Sword somewhere else, or sorry, a Temper Sword somewhere else, looks like he has at least got some of his Master Sword, you know, Ganon practice it, whether he liked to or not.
Yeah,
yeah. Alright, look, as you mentioned, or mentioned before, like these patterns on Aga are certainly not very friendly at all. Looks like Matt's kind of having some very similar struggles to Vortex earlier.
Yeah, it's just a rough Aga patterns for sure.
It is. Yeah, but Matt's almost done in this case. He just has one more Ganon fight left to go. He is just like Vortex. He was going to be on a Master Sword, but at least in this case, he will have silver arrows, and he has more than enough in this case, hopefully, in order to take down Ganon for Phase 4. Although speaking of, we are joined here by at least today's victor here on the restream. 7th place overall for a very, very impressive finish time, Vortex. GG's.
Yo, thanks. Yeah, it was a fun seed. I will confess I had no idea that you were on comms. I'm glad I did NMG Landmo though.
Ah, okay. Well, I was super happy to see it, regardless.
Oh yeah. No, we were really hoping that that you guys, you and or Matt would actually you put the bow to some good use.
I got a couple good chest turns in there too.
Yes, we did see that. Yeah, by the way, nice mimics in Upper GT. That I think at least that was first for me. But I mean, like, yeah, Ari said that you were really grinding those. Basically
yeah, that's easily the room I've spent the most time in. It hasn't exactly been worth it, but it's a lot of fun. I really like that strat. But yeah, it was an okay seed. Also, Ari, a little optimistic was like literally the nicest thing you could have said about my hook shots. I caught the very end there on delay.
It certainly looked a bit more. Yeah, Mulder looked like there was quite a bit of distance, I think, from you and him. So. But yeah, I guess I was curious. Like, were you like as you were kind of like going through the seed? At any point were you, I guess, like worried at all? You know, I guess like. Or did you think like, man, I played this seed very well and made a lot of good decisions, type of thing?
I knew that I did okay. I thought about leaving pod with the flippers in the first chest, and around the time I was like jumping down into Stealthless Basement, I was like, I probably should have. Like that's the item that puts everything back in logic. It's a pendant. I might not need to come back, and if I do, I might be able to have mirror or hammer. But other than that, like a lot went really well. The cane felt very good, and I saw that was Matt's go mode. Like that was right as I tuned in.
Yeah, it seemed like, I mean, I guess it, at least from our perspective, the seeds seemed mostly-ish linear, at least certainly up through Light World, I guess, in Aga, and then you guys went to pod. You did mention this case, like, if you did leave pod after flippers, it could have been a point of divergence. But yeah, like, so I think some people chose to do Pyramid Fairy as you, or Thieves Town the first go-around as you did, and then they were able to kind of do Pyramid Fairy I guess like on the road to Mitz, right? And then in this case, like in Matt's case, he decided to kind of put off Thieves Town and then had a bit more awkward time going back to Pyramid Fairy. Speaking of Matt, though, he did end up finishing, on restream with his time 126, and he is joined here today. GG's, Matt.
Hey, GG's, how's it going?
Yo, GG, Matt. It was a good one.
Yeah. Baby.
Yeah,
So first question, Matt. What made you choose the Ice Rod when you decided to beat Desert?
So it was well, it's funny because like I don't remember if I had magic or not, but I was like I don't think I had.
I did exactly the same thing, but I also went left side of South Shore first, which I wouldn't normally do with Zora money and boots. Like I would normally just go right side. Maybe I get the book and a glove. And I did get a book and a glove, and then I was like, well, I'm still going up the mountain, and I wasn't even thinking about the ice rod I got.
Yeah, ice rod just doesn't exist as an ammo weapon.
Yeah,
But-
I didn't use it.
Yeah, so I think early on it was I thought that you went left because like the cave was just an extra incentive. It is an Aga seed. Let's just be efficient in the light world.
Like if I didn't have the book and glove, I still would have gone left like after and just done Agina. That the cape, like I'm more likely to do Agina if it looks like an Aga seed, and it really was starting to by that point. It's just really unfortunate how I got everything else I would have liked to go over there right after. I also forgot that I got the second item on the Torch and Desert. Check the big chest for a compass for no reason.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah, well, it was unfortunately a map. It wasn't even that useful.
Oh, it was a map.
But it's all good, you know, because I don't really think it cost you all that much extra time. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah, like in a way, it kind of felt like a pretty good seed for a qualifier. Like there weren't that many decisions that could really punish you. I think like Matt maybe filmed like the one trap, which was like not finishing thieves, and then not being able to do Pyramid Ferry on the first trip, which made it like a bit awkward to commit to later. But other than that, it kind of like felt like it played itself.
Yeah, I did realize that you could have potentially kind of tunnel visioned on the mitts. And just not done Pyramid Ferry even if you had Thieves Town done, which would have still taken quite a while to get back to, most likely. I don't know how many people would do that, but... Yeah, I decided that I was like, I hadn't done Hobo, so I just kind of used it as an excuse to loop that in on the way back. Because you get the mitts and you can't like easily get back to Pyramid Ferry, so I decided to take that little hit. I was really happy I did, even though it meant I full cleared Meyer. Yeah, that was definitely the most awkward decision point in the seed, regardless. Like, for all those reasons, it's just sort of like, there's so many factors that go... Like, I probably don't finish Thieves Town if it's not a 5-6 crystal there. Like, I was... Or if there's 3 items in back instead of 2, like, that's... Yeah, so...
Yeah, there were definitely a couple of, like, divergence points possible, but... Yeah, it really started. It started about that point, for sure.
That was so weird.
Talk about...
Yep. He almost didn't do it for me. Like, he went after, like, every other rat first. I was a little worried that I'd have to use the bomb, and he wasn't even corralled anymore, so it was...
the first half of Escape was really scary for you, Vortex. I was
the-
clenching.
The 1.0 or the extra hit on the bomb, I was a little too early walking into the guard to take a half heart instead of a full heart, and I took a heart and a half, and it was very very dicey there for a bit. And the guard RNG and ball and chain was also terrifying.
You were inches away.
Yeah, I managed to get through, and that was
You guys also
wouldn't have been
like
the end of the world, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh no. I was just saying, like, yeah, like for the most part, for like the early game, you guys were, I mean, you took very similar routes, and then also like just always like just like kind of trading screen for screen, kind of like just little things like going back and forth. I would also like to commend you both for the AGA Hall of Fame. Just slightly below sub torch, right? For your distance, so it's certainly very impressive things.
Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah, I certainly look forward to seeing everyone, like post their times on the leaderboards, or on the proverbial refrigerator, like with the magnets in the pictures. So
I'm just gonna print all these out and post.
Exactly.
Them on
Yeah.
my screen. But yeah, I really appreciate both of you showing off in front of all of us, and it was a blast commentating for you. So thanks to both of you.
For sure.
But yeah, you both seemed very on point for most of the seed, and it was great. Like I haven't seen Vortex around a lot recently, so I wasn't sure how rusty you were gonna be, but looked like you had a really solid seed.
I wasn't sure how rusty I would be either. I did yesterday's, which went like okay, but yeah, I haven't been playing a whole lot. I think yesterday was the first time I played Zelda all week, but it's been fun. It went better than I could have hoped for, so yeah.
Glad to hear, and good luck on the rest of the qualifiers then.
Yeah, have you guys ran? Are you planning on running the Rust async, or maybe just trying to join the live ones next week?
Yeah, Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, trying to play as many live as I can, because it's a lot more fun racing live, in my opinion. Although I am really curious about the async system, like it seems really cool. But shout out to the admins. It's a really good change to qualifiers overall. I think it's very much more inclusive, lets people use their flexibility. So that's really cool.
Yeah, big agree.
Yeah, really. I mean, like, thanks to basically Synac and whoever else was also involved in all of the tech stuff. I actually don't know who else was involved, but I mean, I think that part, huge part, contribution, basically allowed all the async stuff to happen. So very, very much, big thank you, and gratitude for all of that stuff setting up. But yeah, thanks guys again for racing. This was actually a really exciting race. I mean, again, very, I want to echo all of Ari's sentiments. Thank you so much for letting us restream you, and it was absolute blast being able to commentate for you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for the comms, and have a good one.
Yeah, all right. So I think maybe we can wrap things up. So we're starting at least to wrap things up. I want to thank our awesome and wonderful tracker, Sammy. I don't think she's actually done too much tracking as of late, but it's super great to be able to see her back, clicking all of the buttons, keeping track of everything. So awesome. Really looking forward to see you track some more for the main tournament. Ari, thank you so much. Always a blast. Always, to be able to commentate you, and this was a really great race to be able to do so.
Yeah, it was great. Always love seeing some competitive rando. Main tournament starting up is just, we're gonna see a lot of top-notch stuff coming up. And and of course, Man and Vortex are an awesome pair to showcase. So we're only going to see more of this, which is great.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Looking forward to some of the potentially some media content that's going to come out of the main tournament as well. So definitely going to keep some eyes peeled for that. And so I guess it's this week and the next week are going to be when all the qualifiers happening, both async and live. I believe the other live qualifiers going to happen next weekend. So for MC, Boss Shuffle, Ambrosia, and Fad, or fake whatever, AD keys, it's going to be Saturday and Sunday. So definitely keep your, if you want to keep those live races in mind, it'll be sometime during next weekend. Otherwise, race async. But I think until then, have a rest great of your afternoon or evening or wherever you may be for Easter, or or eggs, or whatever. Until then, we'll see y'all later.